Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys don't know me, hi, I'm Ellie. I am a professional dancer on board Explorer of the Seas. Today I would like to sit down and talk about 10 things I wish I knew before working on board a cruise ship. These are my personal opinions and this is just for the cruise line that I work with. I know that different cruise lines have different things and different privileges and so on. So this is just me talking on my behalf and from conversations I've had with my friends that also work on cruise ships. So this is good for people who are curious to work on board a cruise ship and also are just curious about crew life. So let's get comfy and get into the video. Rehearsals. This is before you even step foot on a ship. It's definitely a huge shock, especially as a new hire. Going into this scene, it is honestly terrifying. It's a completely different world. Also the living situation. There's a little room apartment for 4 and you're sharing a room with somebody that you've never met. The rehearsal period is quite intense. You're dancing from like 9 a.m. till sometimes 6 p.m. and it's 6 days a week. It is quite a crazy period, especially with jet lag. The next day you're straight to it. You don't get like a startup little time so you can rest and recover. You're literally straight into working. This is such a fun time though, but it definitely is a huge shock. I find myself always being in shock when I go to rehearsals because I forget how intense it is. But the Bay Vista times is so much fun. That's where you make your friends, your connections. I would say be prepared to be exhausted physically and mentally. Everybody knows everything. When I say it's like high school, I mean it is like another year in high school. Gossip on ships travels at light speed. You could say one thing to somebody and then that afternoon 5 other people know about it. I don't really like drama or anything like that, so I have tried my very best to stay out of it, but word does spread and you always find out a bunch of things about somebody that they might not want you to know about. In saying that, you barely have any privacy. Plus also you're living in a bunk bed cabin. That also means there's 2 people living in the same room in a very small space. I would suggest making a tight-knit group that you really trust, or at least one person that you can rely on, that you can talk to. The rules. The good old rules. I did not expect to have so many rules on board a ship. Yes, I knew certain things, but I didn't realize how many rules there were going to be. One very big rule, you need to abide by the dress code. No matter where you want to go in to guest, you have to abide by the rules. So say it's like a smart casual night, that doesn't mean like shorts and a top and some Birkenstocks. This pretty much means like it's an office job attire. Nice pants, nice top, it could be a blazer with some boots, something like that. And then we have dress to impress or a formal night. If it's a formal night, you need to wear a floor length dress. So I would suggest packing a lot of floor length dresses because you will be using them a lot. It also really depends on your job title and how many stripes you have. As a production cast member, we only have 2 stripes, which limits us to a lot of things. And the singers that are in the production cast, they are 2.5 stripes. You wouldn't think that a half of a stripe makes much of a difference, but trust me, it makes a huge difference. So us dancers, we need to pay to go to the Windjammer. It's only $3, but the singers, they don't have to pay. We always have to wear a name tag and your uniform during the day. The singers, they particularly don't have to wear the uniform and they sometimes don't even really have to wear the name tags. They get room service and they also get their rooms cleaned. There is a bit of a difference between the dancers and the singers. I am not too sure why. I wish I had the answer to that, but there is quite a difference. Number 4. This one I didn't think would affect me as much. Your body will be really tired. There's this thing that we call mid-contract slump. It's like when you're halfway through your contract, the hype and the thrill of it all's kind of like faded a little bit, and you're into a solid routine. You're doing shows consistently. You could be homesick, missing family, your body's in pain. It's just a big slump. This contract, I have really prioritized maintaining my fitness and my health, which I have found really, really good because I haven't really had a slump. We do have a physio on board, so that is a big help. She is amazing. But being a dancer on land is one thing, but being a dancer on a cruise ship that rocks and moves all of the time is so different. Doing muster, you're doing emergency drills, you're doing parade, you're spotting the ice shows, what else are you doing? You're doing extra things like balloon blowing at 10:30 at night. You're doing a lot of things that contribute to being tired. Definitely go home from the contract being completely exhausted mentally and physically. Yeah, no one really warned me about how important recovery is. Even going in the sauna and really letting my muscles relax and recover, it has been a priority this contract, and I am very happy within myself for sticking to that. Next we have the good old trainings. This one honestly shocked me. Not gonna lie, I kind of knew I would have to do trainings to be certified for different things on board working on a cruise ship, but I did not expect the amount of trainings you had to do, not only in person, but online before you even get on board. As a new hire, you probably have about 20 online trainings in total. It is quite a lot, especially when you first come on board and you're getting used to ship life, you're getting used to your cabin, you're getting used to navigating around the ship, you're installing the shows, and then you're also doing trainings on top of that. I would really say start doing your trainings like 2 weeks before you get on the ship, so then you don't have to sit there like the night before you fly or the night before you sign on, and you just take your time and really just breeze through them all, because you don't want to have to do them when you're on the ship. You're already doing enough and so much is going on. I would say just sit down, do those trainings, knock them out. Let's talk the internet. I was told that we would have to pay for the internet on board. I didn't realize how expensive it would be and also how slow it would be. So we have packages like 60 minutes for $4 or 120 minutes for $6. These are the two that I usually go through. You can get packages up to $90. All of these packages you have to use by a certain time or they will clear off of your Wi-Fi account. You find yourself spending a lot of money because you may leave your internet on. And when you leave your internet on, it runs out, it expires, and you cannot get it back. So I think that's the most expense I have on board, besides coffee. So if you're into watching movies and TV shows, I would say pre-download them when you're in a port, when you have good Wi-Fi, and you can watch them later on. In the ice cast and production cast, usually people have hard drives full of movies, full of shows. Ask around, you can collect some of your own and start making a big hard drive full of movies and TV shows. You will lose track of what day it is. I'm talking about the days of the week. When you live on board a ship, it is pretty much from day 1 to day 7 or day 1 to day 5. It's what day it is of the cruise. I think on my first contract, I honestly didn't know what day it was. I was doing 3 and 4 day cruises. It was just either day 1, 2, 3 or 4. I didn't know what day it was. It's not like we have a weekend, so we can't be like, oh my god, it's Friday, we get the weekend. It's pretty much just a turnaround day or a port day. We do know what day it is, but the most important thing is to know what day of the cruise it is. Now this one is a big one. Your mental health deserves just as much attention as your job. You live, you breathe, you work, you eat, all with the same people for approximately 11 months straight. You live in a tiny cabin. You are kind of on repeat for months on end. You do not realize how nice it is to have quiet time. You can get so reliant on people that it is so nice just to take a breath of fresh air on your own. Living on a ship isn't for everybody, and I wouldn't say it's for the weak. It is a lot on your mental health. You kind of sit back, you realize you're missing out on things at home, your room situation. There's a few things that can really take a toll on your mental health. The living situation. I'm gonna tell a quick story. This is the first time I actually saw a cabin with my own eyes. I remember on my first ship, we went to our ECCs, which is just a cabin you stay in before you move into your permanent cabin. I remember walking in there with all of my suitcases with my roommate. We put our bags down. I just remember looking around. I honestly started crying because I have heard how small the cabins are, but until you see it with your own eyes and the only space you have is filled with your suitcases, it really hits hard. Royal is very good with letting us decorate the room how we want. So for example, we've put some LED lights up, we've got some plants, some shelves, we've got extra storage space. We also bought a little rug. You can really decorate it and try and make it feel as much like home, and it does end up being your very own little space. You end up loving your little cabin. You are very free to decorate how you would like, and it does end up being very, very nice. But I remember the first time I saw my cabin, I was in absolute shock. Be warned, they are smaller than what you think. Last thing is how hard it is to leave after a contract. I think after my first contract, that was probably the hardest one because it's a brand new experience. You meet all these amazing people, and my cast was absolutely amazing. I met some of my best friends on that ship. It's so sad. It's almost like you're in mourning because you don't know the next time you're going to see these people. You might not see them again. They might not do a ship again, or you might not get the same ship. But it really is one of the saddest things to say goodbye to your cast that you've been through so much with. But as soon as you get home, you are going to miss ship life. Yes, it's so nice to be at home. It also is such a different change from what you're used to for the past 11 months. You are going to miss it, and you're going to want to get back on a ship straight away. So I would say soak up as much as you can, enjoy every experience that you can, and you're gonna have an amazing contract. So that's the 10 things I wish I knew before working on board a cruise ship. Some small, some big, some fun things. If you guys liked this video, please drop a like and subscribe. Leave any questions you have about cruise life down below in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Stay tuned for the next video, and I'll see you guys later. Mwah.